for you guys. So this is the post. Sophie Cunningham says, "Your life seems so fun. Thanks, my family used to have conversations of how to deal with me." So she knew this post was possibly going to be
live from the bracket.
Controversial like post. Now she also dropped some photos of her with Lexi, her at the game. And but when you scroll here to the end, this is the post right here, guys.
Sophie Cunningham's viral Instagram post took an unexpected turn when she walked portions of it back, roughly 10 hours after it went live. And the reversal has only deepened questions around the Fever organization. The post spread rapidly, with hundreds of thousands of people interpreting it as confirmation that the final buzzer beater play was not originally designed for Caitlin Clark. Clark herself engaged with the post in the comments. The framing appeared to validate what many viewers had already suspected from watching the replay. Then came the correction.
When you scroll here to the end, this is the post right here, guys. It states, "Didn't follow the plan, worth it. We may have improvised. Oops, you followed the plan, right? Won anyway." Now, this could maybe be Sophie Cunningham trolling fans. Definitely could be, because we all know that it came out that, we all thought that play was drew up for Kelsey Mitchell or possibly somebody else. Bree, the photographer.
Cunningham posted on X stating that people were reading too much into it and that the play was exactly what the coach drew up and the team executed it perfectly. She referred to our coach without naming anyone specifically. That detail is where things get complicated. In her post-game press conference, Stephanie White had already stated on the record that the play was designed by assistant coach Austin Kelly, not herself. Now Cunningham was publicly crediting the head coach with the design, a version of events that directly contradicts what White said at the podium.
Was drew up for Kelsey Mitchell or possibly somebody else. Bree, the photographer, said, "I think people are still having conversations about how to deal with you." So maybe, just maybe, Sophie Cunningham is trolling Indiana Fever fans. Well, few hours, let's just say 10 hours after she posted this, she quickly went to X to drop this. She said, "You guys read too much into things. That's exact play. Our coach," she said, "our coach."
3 accounts of the same play now exist. White attributed it to Kelly. Cunningham's Instagram suggested it was improvised. Cunningham's follow-up on X credited the head coach.
Coach drew up, and we executed it perfectly. Now, seemed like Sophie Cunningham is coming to the defense of Stephanie White. Now, we all know Stephanie White said in her press conference verbatim that play was drew up by Austin Kelly. Now, we got Sophie Cunningham saying that Stephanie White actually drew the play up. As of right now.
Additionally, Lexi Hull reportedly told a radio station after the game that while Caitlin made a great read and Sophie delivered the pass, she could not say that was exactly what was drawn up, though she was willing to take the result regardless. Hull's framing is notable. It leaves room for the possibility that Clark's decision to pull up from logo range was a read off the play rather than the scripted action, which would align with what Cunningham's original post seemed to suggest and what the replay shows. Kelsey Mitchell moving to the ball before, reversing direction at the last second. The timing of the retraction is what has drawn the most scrutiny.
Play up. As of right now things are looking even more spooky for the Indiana Fever because we all verbatim say that play was drew up by Austin Kelly. Let's listen.
Yeah, just
Steph, was that the play you drew up, or how much confidence do you have in Caitlin for that shot?
Well, Austin drew up the play. I mean, Austin does a lot of our end-of-game stuff, and it was what he drew up.
The original post had accumulated well over 100,000 impressions across various accounts before Cunningham stepped back from it. The speed and wording of the correction, combined with the contradictions it created rather than resolved, has led to widespread speculation that the retraction was not entirely voluntary. Whether or not that speculation is accurate, the organizational picture it paints is not a flattering one. A game-winning shot that should have been a straightforward moment of celebration has instead generated conflicting public statements from the coach, the players, and the players' own social media accounts.
It's what he drew up. We executed it perfectly. I think you see we've been in a lot of those end-of-game situations, and we've done a really good job of executing in those moments. And we got the shot, and C stepped up and made a hell of a shot.
So that is what Stephanie White said during her press conference. Now, Sophie Cunningham saying something different. She said the exact play our coach drew up and we executed. Now, she did put our coach. She didn't specifically name a coach, but a lot is going on.
The internal confusion, whatever its source, has now become part of the public record. Sophie Cunningham posted the meme. The whole team was laughing about it. And then, almost immediately, Sophie reversed course and insisted it was exactly Stephanie White had drawn up and executed to perfection. The reversal did not land with much credibility because the actual play design tells a completely different story. Breaking down what actually happened on the floor makes the improvisation obvious.
But a lot is going on with this picture here because that's supposed to be Stephanie White. I'm pretty sure this was an AI generated post, but I have to read these comments, man. Got to. Somebody said Lexi Hall on the radio after the game. We was trying to draw a foul. I think Caitlin's a great basketball player. She made a read. Sophie was able to deliver a perfect pass to her. She knocked it down when it mattered. I can't say that's exactly what.
The original design had Aaliyah Boston screening for Caitlin Clark, with Clark then screening back for Lexi Hall, cutting across. The first real option was Aaliyah Boston. The second option was to attack any defensive switch that opened up. What was never part of the plan was a 40-foot cross-court lob pass into a 30-foot catch-and-shoot attempt.
She knocked it down when it mattered. I can't say that's exactly what we drew up, but it worked. So we'll take it any day of the week. So this is what Lexi Hall allegedly said on a radio station after the game. Now, I have not heard this audio from Lexi Hall. I want to see what somebody else said. Look, it might have been an option on the play drawn up. Like usual, you do have 2 to 3 actions on an end of game inbound like that, and I honestly don't care. My issue was if
that kind of pass only works if the defense makes a mistake. Specifically, if the defender abandons her assignment entirely. No coaching staff deliberately draws up a play that requires the other team to commit a major defensive error in order to function. What actually collapsed the original design was a defensive miscommunication on Washington's end. Sonia Citron and Cody McMahon both drifted toward Lexi Hall at the same moment, which pulled 2 defenders away from their original assignments and accidentally left Clark wide open on the opposite side of the floor.
Our good old trusted Paint Online app. This is what happened. So this was the play. Sideline there. Whatever. Sophie's there on the side. This is what the play was. Lexi. Kelsey. Aaliyah. Caitlin. Sophie, obviously. This is what the play was. Aaliyah screens there, while Caitlin screens back for Lexi to go across. And then Aaliyah turns and screens down for Caitlin to come up here.
Cody McMahon's attempted steal, which missed badly, came from the only direction available to her. Going the other way would have put her directly in Clark's path and risked a foul call. The defensive breakdown was unplanned. The Fever's sense to it was also unplanned, but fast and correct. Aaliyah Boston recognized the switch developing in real time and immediately adjusted. Instead of screening her original assignment, she pivoted and pinned Shakira Austin, which is exactly the right read in a pick-and-roll situation when a shooter is relocating on a switch.
Turns and screens down for Caitlin to come up here. The first option is this. The second option is the switch. It is the switch. Like, I'm sorry, nobody drew up a floated, dangerous cross-court lob pass because all they had to do is switch that and it's Caitlin's gone. It is, the play was for AB, and what AB did was AB decided that, so what happened is that during this whole play,
Sophie Cunningham held the ball, saw Clark wide open at the arc, and threw the pass. Clark knocked it down. The sequence required 3 players making the right individual decision within roughly 2 seconds of each other, with none of it scripted. Sophie's statement that the play was executed exactly as drawn up generated immediate pushback, partly because Lexi Hall had already said the opposite on radio.
Decided that, so what happened is that during this whole play, they then get into a situation where Kelsey's just there. She's out of play. Kelsey goes out of the play. Lexi goes to the corner. Lexi's not an option on this play, by the way, unless somehow they both go to Caitlin and Lexi's standing under the basket. And what ended up happening is that Caitlin, because Citron and Cody McMahon both stepped to Lexi, Caitlin or Aaliyah is being guarded by Shakira Austin.
The broader frustration in the commentary around the team is not really about this single possession. It is about a pattern where any narrative that reflects critically on the coaching staff gets shut down as quickly as possible, while the underlying questions about the team's offensive performance go largely unaddressed. The Indiana Fever have one of the most talented offensive rosters the league has seen in some time. The gap between that talent level and the team's actual offensive output, which ranks below several teams with significantly weaker personnel, is where the real scrutiny sits. Whether Stephanie White treats Caitlin Clark as the team's primary offensive option or as a decoy to create space for others is a legitimate question, and it is one that the game winner sequence brought back into focus.
And Caitlin's coming this way. So Caitlin's coming out to here. So what Aaliyah Boston does is Aaliyah Boston, instead of what she was supposed to have done and screen on Cody McMahon, realizes there's no way Cody runs this whole length and steals the ball. She then pins Shakira Austin, which is what you're supposed to do on a switch. If you're getting a shooter open on a switch, you're supposed to screen your player, and you know they're switching. You're screening your player, not their player, because their player is going to stand on you. You're screening on your player, because that's just the way the pick and roll offense works. Like, it's literally a case.
Clark had just missed 2 free throws moments before the final possession. Designing the closing play around drawing a foul rather than generating a clean shot was the decision the coaching staff made. Sophie and Clark went a different direction, and it worked. The rest is noise.
It's the way the pick and roll offense works. Like, it's literally a case of the actual offense kind of went to shit because 2 of their players decided to run with Lexi Hull. And by the way, it was Sonia Citron's fault. They were clearly switching everything. Like, you could see, by the way, actually, sorry, no, it was Cody's fault. They weren't switching anything. What am I talking about? It was a miscommunication. It's nothing like majorly on Cody McMahon. And people were like, oh, Cody McMahon should have not went for steal. She didn't go for the steal. She was fucked. She had to come around this way because if she went this way, she runs into Caitlin Clark and fouls. she sprints out. No, Cody did the one thing she could do, unfortunately missed by a lot. Like, it was a play that they absolutely improvised. And I understand, like, we talk about going rogue. We talk about going rogue as in the team is like, oh yeah, like we're going against our coach. But like, I'm being honest, they went rogue in a way where it's like, okay, yeah, what we were doing wasn't going to work. Like, I'm sorry, the play that they ran was not going to work. And like, they did something, they adjusted on the fly and made a play that worked. This is what you'll say, like, this is one of those things that you would assume every coach is happy with. And people were saying, oh, does this mean they've lost the locker room? And I always said, there's no way that unless Stephanie White comes into the game and says that, there's no way that unless Stephanie White comes into the game and says, unless she goes into the locker room and is like, no, you didn't run my play. You didn't run my play. I don't care that what you did worked out, which I don't think is the case. But if that is the case, then yeah, maybe Steph will lose the locker room. But Sophie being like, you guys read too much into things. The response is, okay, get mad at us because you confirmed something we already knew. Caitlin, the coach now. Lexi Hull on the radio after the game. Sophie, I don't even know who. Is that Christy Wallace? Is that Christy Wallace wearing a Lexi Hull